All right, I think maybe we'll get started and people can join us as we're doing the first introduction part. Hi everyone, welcome. Thank you for being here on this sunny Friday afternoon, at least sunny where I am in Calgary. I'm based out of Calgary. I hope it's sunny where you are. Um, my name is Selena Vides, and I'm the engagement coordinator for ICAI, the Immigrant Council for Arts Innovation. If you are not familiar with ICAI, you're about to hear a lot about it. And if you already know what we do, then you might find out a couple things that you don't know today also. I also wanted to take a second to just acknowledge the land that we are part of. We live, work, and make art on the Treaty 6, 7, and 8 territories of the many Indigenous and Métis nations in Alberta, as well as all other Indigenous community members who live within these territories, who may have a different treaty or may be from different nations. We respect the land we live on, and we also acknowledge that there's unresolved history in these treaties. We publicly commit to advancing reconciliation and make intentional efforts towards ending systemic racism through our work in the community and as we continue to celebrate and protect these diverse cultures, languages, and traditions that existed before us here in Canada or in Turtle Island. So welcome to our session. We today want to talk a little bit about ICAI and just a couple of housekeeping notes before we get into this. This information session is aimed towards settlement agencies. If you are here and you're an arts professional or you are part of like an arts organization, we will be having an information session May 26th that is geared towards arts organizations specifically. The information session today will be really useful for settlement agencies and those that work with newcomer and immigrants. So if you're here and you're an independent artist, arts professional, anything like that, maybe this session won't be as useful to you. I encourage you to reach out to any of our channels and Immigrant Council for Arts Innovation if you're needing information as an independent arts professional. But other than that, let's begin. I want to tell you a little bit about ICAI. So ICAI, and as I mentioned before, this is the Immigrant Council for Arts Innovation. We are an arts council based in Alberta. We were founded in January of 2019. And really, we were founded with the express purpose of connecting immigrants and newcomer arts professionals to the existing arts community in Alberta, which is a very thriving arts community, as all of you know. But that was our purpose, to connect. ICAI is actively encouraging the diversity of expressions and culture through creating safe environments and safe places for immigrants and for newcomers to be able to feel confident in expressing their cultural identities, but also telling their stories and making art. Our vision as ICAI is to transform the arts community through these opportunities and through this connection that I mentioned. Our mission is to connect, empower, and advocate for immigrants and newcomer arts professionals in the community. So you may be wondering, how exactly do we do this? Well, it is a complex amount of work, as I can tell you, but what we are aiming to do is to provide specialized information and resources for newcomer and immigrants art professionals. And I'll say this a lot, by the way, throughout the presentation. I'll say newcomer and immigrants, arts and culture workers or professionals. And what I mean by this, I'll just quickly define our audience here. What I mean by this is anyone who's not born in Canada, but who has an expressed interest of or they were in their country of origin an arts professional. And this can encompass artists, but also arts administrators and anything in between. As you'll learn today, later when my colleague Toyin speaks about the arts sector, this is a really broad definition. This is a really broad umbrella when we say arts and culture professionals. It's not exactly just people with a brush and painting. It's really a broad variety of professions and workers within the arts sector. But yeah, so moving going back again to how do we do this? We also create free and inclusive and tailored programs and networking and employment opportunities for newcomer and immigrant arts professionals. And we provide support and mentorship for artistic growth and professional development. We also really want to advocate for a community with safe spaces and for opportunities for everyone. And we do this by educating the arts community too, and in the case of today, by hoping to provide information to those of you who provide services for immigrants and newcomers to this country. How do we serve? This is through our partners and our programs. That is really our strength. So we have wonderful partners and programs throughout Alberta. And we serve this community of arts and creative professionals who, as I mentioned before, are not born in Canada and who are making Canada their home now and were arts professionals in their country of origin or have an expressed interest of becoming one here. And yeah, so we have a variety, as all of you who are part of settlement agencies, you know, there is a big spectrum there of what do we mean by newcomers and immigrants, but is really some of our programs may be just for newcomers, as you'll learn later in the presentation, but we also provide services for people who have been here for any number of years. Our inspiration is that we live in a diverse city, in a diverse province, and we really want to promise a better life to everyone who's making this place their home, and we want to provide these unique and unlimited opportunities for people to know what's out there and for people to know that it is possible to make their living in this sector. And yeah, we really just want to help this transition being easy for everyone, because as you'll learn, a lot of us at ICAI, we are immigrants ourselves, and we went through this process of coming here and not really having a network, not really having not really knowing anyone in some cases. So this was our inspiration, is how do we make this transition easy for folks that are just moving here, and for those who are dreaming to be a part of this sector. Now, sometimes we get a lot of questions about, like, you know, for a job placement or a human resources agency. That's really things that we are not. So we listed this here because we think it's important to not also tell you what we're about, but some of the things that we do not offer as ICAI. I mean, so in some cases we can point you to the right place to go, but not in every case. But we're definitely not a job placement agency. We're not a human resources agency. We do not have a roster of artists for event producers to just like have a, you know, but sometimes when there's, oh, we need a diverse, like, you know, like cultural group to do this, like that's not our goal. We're not an immigration services organization. You are, all of you who are in the audience today. And yeah, like I mentioned, we're not a talent agency, and we're not a funding organization. We do not give out grants. So now let's talk a little bit about our team. I cannot talk about ICAI without mentioning Toyin Oladele, who is our founder and our visionary leader. Toyin really, she's been at the helm of ICAI since the very start, and she is the person why I'm here today with you. She is the inspiration behind all of these programs, and also she is the person who's engaged all of us who are working now with ICAI. She really wanted to reimagine the immigrant experience in Alberta, and she challenged those conceptions of what spaces we can occupy as immigrants and newcomers. She really wanted to challenge um, that notion of like, you come to Canada and you need to just survive and you need to forget what you were in your country. She was like, actually, we can create these spaces for everyone. And she does so by being a consultant, by being a leader in the community. She has great focus in being, trying to elevate the lives of professionals in our province. And she is also a performer herself, and she's an arts manager, an experienced arts manager, and she's at the helm of ICAI. You'll hear from Toyin later in the presentation. But after this vision that Toyin had, and after engaging lots of folks, now we've grown. I'm not in this picture, but you had to see my face today. But here are my colleagues that we have. ICAI has grown since 2019, who was like the dream of one person, and now it's 5 of us working at ICAI, and we've engaged, as you'll learn later, lots of volunteers and members, etc., and artists in our roster. Now, I want to tell you a little bit about our programs, and I'll get into this, but really, the thinking behind the creations of these programs, it's tailored to connect, engage, and advocate for immigrants and newcomers, arts and culture professionals, and that's what we have at the forefront of this idea and of everything that we do, as I mentioned before. But we are a small and a volunteer sustained organization. So as I said earlier too, we really rely on our partnerships and grants and on volunteers to run, because we are a small team, and yeah, we all have other jobs as part of our professional careers. So we really rely on the help of everyone to keep ICAI going. But I wanna tell you, yes, a little bit about our development programs. So first up is our Immigrant Arts Mentorship Program. This program is one of a kind, really, is only 1 out of 3 programs of this kind in North America. And in Western Canada, there's really nothing like this program. What it is it's 6 months of professional development and mentorship in which mentees get paid to be part of the program. In this program, we pair up a mentee with a mentor in the community. So somebody in our mentors is people who are experienced in a specific field or discipline in the arts sector, and they're paired up with a newcomer. This program is specific for newcomers, and they get paired up and they go through a series of professional development sessions, and then mentorship sessions, one-on-one sessions with the mentor. And then they have the opportunity to develop a project throughout the course of the program. And also we have a graduation at the end. And in most cases, if not all, this has led automatically to employment opportunities, not only through our partnerships and some of our, let's say if we have artists in the roster as part of the mentees, they've been able to do exhibitions, but some of our arts administrators that are part of the program have gone on to work in really exciting organizations in the community. So yeah, it often translates to immediate employment for these arts professionals. And as I mentioned before, this is geared towards people who are newcomers, and specifically, they have been here for less than 7 years. So let me tell you a little bit about another program. We also have what's known as the MIR, so Mentorship and Mentor in Residence. This program is designed really to support everyone throughout the year. So not like IAMP that I mentioned before. This one is year round, and it doesn't really have a limit of when a person has arrived in Canada. It's not specifically for newcomers. It can be also for immigrants that have been a little bit longer here. And what this is we have a couple mentors in different disciplines also in residence. And as an arts professional, you can have a session with these mentors. And currently you can check out our website to see who are our mentors, but we actually have someone that you'll hear from later. Sayonara is one of our mentors in residence this season, and you'll hear from Sayonara later. We also have a couple of support programs. So we uplift and celebrate the work of our artists by having an Artist of the Month program. We usually announce this through our newsletter and our social media channels and our website. We feature one of our artists in our roster, and an arts professional in our roster, and we do a mini interview. We hear more about them. We promote any upcoming work that they have, and throughout this exposure that they get to different channels in our province, some of our artists have been able to get like really great opportunities, or really just get their work out there in the community. We also host workshops and artist talks, and we do this again through our partners. We've been really lucky to have some great spaces where we have been able to hold workshops and some of our artist talks. We currently have an exhibition, and yesterday we had artist talks with a lot of our graduates from our last cohort of our mentorship program, and it was really exciting to hear from all of them. We also have employment opportunities sometimes. As I said before, we are not an employment agency, but we do, through our partnerships, as I mentioned, we do have opportunities to for our artists and for our members to go through exhibitions and performances that are facilitated by us year round. And yeah, folks get to display their work or to show what they've been working on. And yeah, this is really exciting. And again, if you want to hear more about this, please check out our website. So I just want to end my part of it by giving you a little bit of an overview of what we've done since 2019. And because it's really exciting, as we were putting together this presentation, I was really in awe because I've joined ICAI now as a staff member, but in the past I was a volunteer, and I was just seeing all these numbers come together was really, really great and really emotional for me to see how much has grown. But yeah, so since 2019, we have supported and engaged over 500 newcomer and immigrants arts professionals. And keep in mind that we had a pandemic in the middle of all of that, so that's an incredible number. And we've done this through our programs and partnerships and our events. Also, our programs and partners have also hired over 300 arts professionals since 2019. We have paired with 40 mentors and mentees in total through the Newcomer Arts Professional Program, so the IAM program that I was telling you. And we currently have over 300 registered members. And we started registered membership in 2022, so that's also like a number that's climbed up quite a bit in a short period of time. And now we have almost 2,000 subscribers to our newsletter. I encourage you all to please subscribe as well. But with that, I will end my piece, and I will introduce my colleague Toyin to come and take you to the second part of our presentation. So thank you. Take it away, Toyin.
Thanks so much, Selena, and hello everyone. My name is Toyin Oladile. I am the founder and executive director of the Immigrant Council for Arts Innovation. I'm without my hair today. I'm sure you saw that I had hair in the other picture. Don't worry, it's still me. Thank you so much for joining us. When we planned this out and we were working towards it, we honestly wasn't sure how it's going to look like, but we're so glad that you're able to join us. Essentially, we're gathered here today to provide a two-way education, right? To let immigrant settling agencies, newcomer supporting groups, culture groups that you all are to understand what it means to be an arts professional, so that you would be able to further support people like this when they come to your offices across Alberta, or they reach out to you for support. Our goal for today is so that we can learn about the art sector. What are the challenges there, and what are the opportunities there, and how you can help both us as an organization and your clients who come to you, so that as we go on, you understand clearly why it's important for us to have this session. So thank you. Next slide, Selena. Okay. So you've heard about ICAI. Now you know what we do, you know what we've done, you know our programs. What do we even mean about the arts and culture sector? Like, what are we trying to talk about? Because I know that a lot of you know about accountants, you know how they can get jobs. There are so many programs to support accountants across Alberta, to support lawyers, medical professionals, and etc., other professions. But the arts and culture sector, the creative economy, what do we mean by that? And this is like individuals across all disciplines, both non-profits and arts organization, cultural industries, so books, people that write, magazines, music, film, visual arts, heritage sector, museums, libraries, and all that. Now, people who are engaged in this industry, people who paint, people who dance, people who do film, people who work as art managers, people who are producers, directors, stage managers, people who are into lighting, people who are into events, curation, work in museums, and more. Those are the people that make up the arts and culture sector. Some of the characteristics here is that it's very fluid, and it's driven by the gig economy. It's a gig economy, right? For most people, it's like you're going from one gig to the other. So the support that people would expect might not necessarily be getting employment in an education in an organization and sitting in front of a computer. You might be working here as a performer in this theater today, and tomorrow you're in another theater, or you're having an exhibition today in this gallery, and tomorrow you have your residency somewhere else. It moves like that. It focuses on the production of original art, experiences, and overall creative content. Producing industries and creative services all fall in what we call the arts and culture sector, or the creative economy. Next slide, please. And I don't know if Selena mentioned it, but we're going to take questions. I see there are some questions in the chat. We're going to take questions after after this presentation, right? Can you go to the slide before this? I think we skipped one, please. Oh no, keep going. Okay, thank you. Who are the creative professionals? Because I'm sure some of them might come to your offices and you might not really know where they belong. So there are a variety of creative endeavors immigrants and newcomers can aspire to do in the art sector. Arts administration is also a very vast field that benefits from lived experience and crossover skills from other sectors. And we're going to see that as we go. Why am I taking time to explain more information about the creative economy? So, and about, yeah, creative professionals. They're coming to Canada. A lot of people already know about the kind of opportunities that already exist and the roles that people fit into. So people will come to your offices, and when they give you their resume or they tell you about themselves, their family member or friends already informed them that, you know what, when you go there, just tell them you are an accountant. Just tell them this. Because historically, a lot of settlement agencies have not been able to support people in the creative economy. So I've heard a lot of people say things like, oh, we only see one artist in the whole year. We hardly even see artists. We hardly even, things like that. It is because a lot of them believe that you might not be able to support them. So they'll rather tell you what they think you can support, essentially. Next slide, please. Thank you. What are some of the myths and assumptions about newcomers in the arts and how they can get jobs and what the situation looks like? Newcomer art professionals need to forget about a career in the arts and get a real job to sustain themselves. So we've heard a lot of stories about people who come, they try to get a job, And when they get to a settlement agency, they're told something like, what else do you do? What other skill do you have? Do you have administrative skill? Because we want to be able to get you a job in the bank. We want to be able to talk to a bank to hire you or to an organization to hire you. So it's always like, forget about that. What else do you do? So people do things like, oh, you're an artist? Are you a dancer? Can I see the picture of you working? And then you show them your work and they go, wow, this looks really beautiful. But what else do you do? So there is that belief that there are no jobs in the arts, right? Which is a myth. Now, the arts are a hobby, not a career. Yeah. We have a lot of people who also believe that. And it also reflects in when we get to speak with some of our members about the experiences they've had. There are no opportunities to make a living in the arts full time. It's also a myth. It's actually not true. You need to take every opportunity as an artist, even if it doesn't pay, aka exposure. So a lot of people, when they hear about being an artist, they only think of paintings and things like that. And you hear things like, oh yeah, do you want to come display your work at our event? I mean, we don't have a budget to pay you, but to give you exposure. So there's really nothing like that. Them displaying their work at your event is how they make a living, just the way the doctor checks, you go to the hospital and the doctor, they do everything they do for you. Bringing their artwork to your event or to a community event happening is exactly the same thing. That is how some artists make their own living. You hear things like, oh, can you come perform a dance? We don't really have a budget. We're just wondering. I mean, there will be over 1,000 people there, and it's an opportunity for exposure. One way you can go about it is to mention things like, well, if you don't mind volunteering for us, yeah, and the artist might decide to volunteer. That's on them. But exposure doesn't really pay, and we're gonna get there. Then there is no art sector in Alberta. There is actually, and it's a very, very huge one that has hired countless number of people. In here, before I go to the next slide, I'd like to share my own story quickly. When I got here in 2017, like Selena said, I couldn't find the arts. I went to all settling agencies and they couldn't really tell me how to get a job in the arts. Everybody was just like, okay, well, yeah, we know there are some arts, but we don't know. Maybe you come, what else do you do? And we can help you. Along the line, I unfortunately got into an agency. It wasn't a settlement agency, it was a private agency, and they said, oh, we can train you, we can provide opportunities for you. And I got scammed over almost $5,000, which was very painful because I was new, and they told me they could, connect into the arts through trainings. And I paid for the trainings, but the trainings never happened. It was a scam. That led me to a lot of research to kind of find out why there isn't any form of support for newcomers. And that was how ICAI was founded. And that was also how the Immigrant Art Mentorship Program, which will be renamed as the Newcomer Art Professional Program in the future, that was how these initiatives were created to support the high number of creatives coming into Alberta. Next slide, please. Ultimately, there's a knowledge gap between settlement agencies, cultural groups, and the arts community. The arts community doesn't really know that there are newcomers who are coming into the city, into the province with experience in the arts. And then the immigrant world, newcomer world, settlement agencies, cultural groups also do not really recognize that there are so many people who are coming into the province who are professionals in the arts and who needs to get employed. So there aren't a lot of support for this niche sector. Next slide, please. Okay, I'm about to share some facts about the arts sector for you. And this will, I hope, would help in creating a realistic opinion about what we hope you can start telling your clients as they come. Now, there are many funds and grants available to support the career of a newcomer art professional. So even if you don't know where to start from, there are grants. There is Canada Council for the Arts, which is federal. There is the Calgary Arts Development, which is province based here. There is the Edmonton Arts Council, which is based in Edmonton, and so many other across the province. They support by giving grants that can help you create your work. There's Alberta Foundation for the Arts, and they can grants are available for people, whether they are newcomers or not, to actually get some funding to create projects, which is how the artists live. There are a number of art organizations in Alberta that will sorry, that's a typo. They're not able hire an arts professional. They're able to. There are over across the province multiple art organizations that actually hire newcomer art professionals. Whether you're in theater, you're in film, you're a visual artist, whatever it is, all over. There are so many of them. Alberta is a thriving province, and the arts are alive and well. And even if you've not heard of a lot of opportunities, that we've recently been hearing of big project movies coming to Calgary, coming to Alberta to shoot. That's to tell you that those opportunities exist. The creative economy is a huge part of our province. Most professionals can work in the arts sector. So this is another thing we're going to be emphasizing on as we go. I know that a lot of times when professionals come to you from other sectors that are engineers, accountants, lawyers, the art sector might not be the place you want to refer them to or a place you want them to get employed. But yes, art organizations hire accountants, hire engineers, hire lawyers, hire different people. So it's just for us to know that the creative industry, the creative sector, I think I am advocating for the creative economy in as a whole now. Now, you don't have to be an artist to work in the arts. So you don't have to be a visual artist. You don't have to be a dancer. You don't have to be, you can be a manager, an arts manager. You can be a project manager. And we're going to look into that as we go. You also don't have to work in the art sector as an artist. You can work in other industries too. What that means is that, for instance, as an artist, I can work in real estate because they need a photographer. There are photographers that are like working strictly in the health sector. There are graphics designers that work strictly in banking. There are photographers, you know what I mean? So, depending on the skill you have, you necessarily don't have to work in what we call the creative economy or the arts community or the arts sector or the art industry. You can actually work in other sectors, which means when people come to you with these skills, we want you to be open minded to kind of be able to refer them to other industries. Even if you don't necessarily think they can get a job in the arts, you can say, you know what, you're a photographer, that's a good artistic skill. You want to check this. As some people might come from their country and they were into real estate, so taking pictures for estate agents, and you can be like, yeah, absolutely. These are some of the places you can work. They don't necessarily have to work in the arts itself. Next slide, please. Thank you. What are some of the disciplines in the arts? We have the literary arts, the people who write. We have the performing arts. We have visual arts. We have public arts. We have media arts. We have cultural and heritage organizations. Now, I didn't list anything around arts management here because art managers can work across all sectors. As a matter of fact, art managers work across all sectors. And these are some of the things that people would bring to you as the experience that they have, and we just want you to be aware of them. Next slide, please. Thank you. I know that in Canada we emphasize a lot on transferable skills that can move from one industry to another. Now, these are some of the transferable skills that are used in the arts. So sometimes some people might come to you and they have a different experience entirely. They've never worked in the arts before. But if they have tech skills, if they have creative problem solving skills, if they have critical thinking skills, observation skills, communication skills, people skills, empathy, compassion, they can collaborate, they have analytical skills, research and analysis skills, adaptability and flexibility, they can work in the arts because all the skills can be used in any sector, not necessarily in the sector that they were working in before. Essentially, what this means is that you can as well refer them to opportunities in the arts, and we'll tell you where to find those kind of opportunities shortly. Next slide, please. Thank you. I know some people wonder about education and training and things like that. Like what? So for an accountant, for instance, they come with maybe a degree from their home country. Now, some artists just have high school, post-secondary, or any other type of degrees. Apprenticeship, internship, fellowship, even mentorship, workshops, degree in any arts or humanity program, and guess what? Zero arts related qualification can also work in the arts. So you're going to see people who don't necessarily have any form of certificate to back up their experience, but they will tell you that they are self-taught, they are self-learned, they got to know this information all by themselves. They are also able to work in the arts. Next slide, please. Okay. I wanted to touch base on some non-related arts experience that can work in the art sector. So these experiences have really nothing to do in the arts, but they can work in the arts if they have this experience. Essentially, what we're trying to do here is so that when people with these type of experiences come to you, apart from referring them and you're trying to support them to get hired, apart from referring to them to the already popular sectors, accounting and all those things, law and all, you can also refer them to the arts sector. So we're trying to advocate for the arts. Project management, office administration, nonprofit sector, operations management, financial management, sales, fundraising, people management, customer service, marketing and communications, community engagement, evaluation skills, public policy making, production and exhibition, tech and design. All these sometimes are not necessarily related to the arts. But if someone comes to you and they have any of these skills or any of these experiences, they can as well be referred to work in the arts. Next slide, please. Thank you. Okay, I know this is crazy. It's all over the place. But we did this intentionally because we just wanted you to be able to like focus your eyes on each of them, even though they're all over the place. So if you know people who are coming into the country and they are looking for and they have this type of experience, these are some of the opportunities in the arts that they can use their transferable skill to start working in. So they are coming with all those transferable skills that we just mentioned 2 slides or 3 slides ago. They can adapt those skills into any of these jobs. Project management, prop designer, fundraiser, storyboard, museum, creative entrepreneur, singer, dancer, marketer, animation, stylist, woodworker, mixed media, gallery owner, web designer, photographer, presenter, curator, author, historian, um, computer skills, fashion designer, studio manager, storyboard, all these things, arts manager, jeweler, event planner, poet, video game designer, the executive director, arts manager, all of them are available. Instrumentalists, musicians, these skills are all available for, these positions are available for people to be able to pick up opportunities if they are interested. Next slide, please. Thank you. Okay, so at this point, before we actually start taking questions, remember a few slides ago, I mentioned that you don't have to have experience working in the arts to be able to work in art sector. You actually don't even have to have an arts degree. In order to show you that, we have someone here today who got to Canada less than 2 years ago. She got to Canada during the pandemic. Her name is Sayonara, and she currently works with the Calgary Arts Development. And she's going to be sharing her story quickly about, what has happened to her, her experience getting a job here, and working with Calgary Arts Development, and what she does at Calgary Arts Development. We intentionally want to share this story for you so that you can see in practical how skills can be transferable and how the art sector is real, is viable. Sayo, are you ready?
I am. Thanks for having me, Toyin and Selena. Nice to meet you all.
Maybe we start.
Well, maybe
no one can see Sayo's face.
Are we good?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so maybe I can just share a little bit about like my own journey, how I end up like working for Calgary Arts Development, even though I'm not an artist. I come from Brazil. I've been here for 3 years. In Brazil, I used to work for a federal agency as a public manager. This organization is responsible for preserving and protecting Brazilian cultural heritage. So I was still like in the art scene, let's put this way. But yeah, my background is in administration. I did a master's in public management, so it's not related to the arts at all, even though I love the arts, I love drawing, I love painting, but I'm not a professional artist. So to what Join was saying, I found myself with different skills that could be applied for my current role as community liaison at Calgary Arts Development, and yeah, I just feel that like when we think about those transferable skills, it just shows that we can really work and transition to the arts, even though if you are not an artist. Today I support other newcomers, but even like the arts community in general, sharing resources available in Calgary. It's quite interesting that there are lots of things in the city, and even professional artists doesn't know about all the resources. So my job is to make those resources available, because Calgary Arts Development, we also have our own capacity and we cannot do everything for everybody. For example, we get requests, I got a grant or I sold my art piece and I don't know how to file my taxes. Can you help us with that? And unfortunately, CADA doesn't have a tax person here, but if you can at least connect them to someone who already does the work, I feel like that's a great outcome. So I don't know, Tony, is there anything else that you can remember that I can share here? Or
Absolutely.
yeah.
If you don't mind sharing how you got your job, like how you found out about it, and also how you've been transferring your skills from Brazil to supporting you.
Mhm.
Yeah, because some people would approach us who, like I said, who necessarily didn't work in the arts before, but they have some transferable skills that can be useful for them, especially in an arts manager capacity. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, sure. So because I worked for almost 10 years for government, I was really looking to a type of job that I could still support community. So mainly I was looking for jobs with like a nonprofits, and so I ended up like finding out about Calgary Arts Development, because there is a particular website that it's sharing just jobs within nonprofits in Calgary. And you know, as a public manager, the way that I've been using those skills here at CADA is really by overseeing different projects. CADA has been really committed, for example, with equity, diversity, inclusion, and accessibility, and truth and reconciliation. So we have different meetings to discuss that, make plans, and organize actions. It feels like a part of what I do. It's also like as a project, like work as a project manager as well. Um, we also have a community working group at CADA where we engage with around 10 different artists. We have monthly meetings, and it's an opportunity for Calgary Arts Development to get to know a little bit more about what is going on with the community, what the art sector needs, and they end up also helping us review policies and how to become more equitable, diverse, inclusive, and accessible with all our service. So this is also a part of like how I am overseeing a different project, besides going to the community and getting to know different people, different artists, and finding new ways to support the arts community. So I feel I still have like my internal work at CADA, that it's really supporting the organization with their own strategies that they commit, and also being out there, getting to know people and being involved with community.
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely see my experience not only at work in Brazil, but even yeah, everything that I learned like in my graduation with my degree, with my master's, really being applied to this role.
Thank you. Thanks so much, Sayo. Thank you. And yeah, so we wanted Sayo to share her experience because we knew that it would probably put some practical view to what we're actually talking about. And so going forward, and in your work as you deliver your role, there are people you would meet who not necessarily come from an arts background. There are places that you can refer them to. Some of those places are the Calgary Arts Development website. There's a classified on their page that have always have different rules for the arts, and you can always refer them there. I can pop in the chat as we go, and also we also have a classified on the Immigrant Council for Arts page where we always list employment opportunities. You will notice that these employment opportunities are kind of not necessarily for just the arts, but different. Most of the opportunities you will see there are for art sector, but it is not just people who have an arts background that can do them. That's the point we're trying to make here. So if you meet someone who have project management skills, they might just be able to pick up one of the jobs on the classified page with the experience that they bring. It just now comes down to them tailoring their experience to be able to express themselves in such a way that the person that is interviewing them will understand what they're saying. Selena, do you want to put up the slide again? I think there's just one more slide. Sayo, you have one thing to say?
Yeah, I don't know if you are planning also to share with them that part that we add to Calgary Arts Development website, where we clearly and intentionally say that immigrants, newcomers can reach out to get resources for Cater, because I think like there is such a great outcome from what we created together.
Yes.
Being inspired by Aikai and Toyin, we made sure that people feel welcome to reach out, especially immigrants, refugees, newcomers. And from that experience, people reach out to us even before they move it to Canada, which I think it's pretty amazing. And it's something that it's just so, so simple. So anyways, I want to just to add that as well, Twin, because I think it's such
Absolutely.
a good practice.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry for cutting you. We don't have it for this slide. We have it for the other information session that we have coming up, but it's a good one that you mentioned it. So it's just to specific to be able to um a lot of people do research from their home country, like when they're coming to any city, they want to make sure there are opportunities there. So they go to like arts in Calgary. They Google things like that. Arts in Edmonton, arts in Lethbridge. And when they don't see anything that talks about newcomers, they just assume that there are no opportunities. And that's why we created that very short, brief quote that says that whether you're a newcomer, you're an immigrant, whatever it is that you are, please feel free to reach out to us. So going forward, we wanted to quickly ask anyone at all who is willing to share. We have about almost 30 minutes left, which was intentional because we know you're going to have questions that might want to share. Anyone who might want to share any experience they've had with someone who works in the arts as an artist, as an arts manager, or whatever it is, whatever your experience might have been, we want to hear it because it's a good feedback for us also to kind of know where things are in the newcomer and immigrant sector. So we're gonna leave this open to everyone, anyone who is willing to share right now. You can just let us know like by raising your Zoom hand or coming just going off mute if you don't mind. Anybody at all will be fine. Stephanie, of course, thank you.
Hi, Diana. Nice to see you. I put it into the chat box, but I wonder if other people may be thinking in the same way, or it might be useful to mention it out loud. That pre-arrival piece that Sayonara was talking about just a moment ago is so critical. And in my experience working for an art service organization, that could be, a great support for newcomers and new Canadians. Unfortunately, they're not finding out about us until years after they get here. And so I'm wondering, where amongst maybe like the settlement agency reps around here or the placement agency reps around here, if that's just something to think about around, what's communicated before arrival in terms of arts careers and things like that. And it's, even if it's just a list or having websites available, what would be useful for settlement organizations to have access to? I mean, this presentation is great, Toyin, but I'm just wondering, is there like a very simple list, or, how can we start framing that, working together to make sure that these resources get to pre-arrival candidates in a timely way?
Thanks so much. That's such an amazing question, because that's part of the things we've been working on to achieve, right? So what we did with Calgary Arts Development, and what we've also done with a lot of arts organizations in the city across Alberta, is to ensure that in their calls, in their exhibition calls, in their call for audition, in their opportunities, we want to put there that if you have uh, a newcomer, an immigrant, or whatever, you're welcome to apply. When we put this EDIA statement at the end of every job opportunity, like, hey, we are an equal employment opportunity, employer, and things like that. We've decided to start adding whether you're a newcomer or immigrant, feel free to apply. That way, when people see it, it's easier. They can clearly see that they're welcome to actually apply, and you're not necessarily insisting on having Canadian experience. So that's the thing about the arts, right? When you put that there, it means we're not necessarily insisting on that. Once you can show us that you can deliver, we will do it. And also, we realize that when people Google art, like when I got here and I was Googling, I didn't find anything. I don't know if I was Googling. No, I can't remember the things I Googled. Maybe they were wrong. Maybe they weren't the words that were used in Canada, but I couldn't find anything until I got scammed, and then I met someone who introduced me to the art sector. We can't always rely on luck, right? There should be a process, and that's what ICAI is doing. So on CADA's website, the link that Sayo put in the chat, you would see that it mentions there that I think in the very last paragraph, information and resources. If you're an artist and culture worker in Mokistis, this is for Calgary. We've done this with other art organizations across Alberta. Reach out to Sayo. She has information available for established, emerging, refugee, and immigrant artists. So it's something that is there. And I think that, Stephanie, if other art organizations can have this type of quotes on their websites too, when people fall on these websites, they can clearly see that these opportunities exist. That's what our hope is. Nancy, you have a thought? Thank you.
Sorry. 1 second. I'm just starting my video. So yeah, that's actually what you just posted in there in the chat was what, like a kind of the website is great to send out to clients, but I also would just like a shortened kind of a little clip. But I think what you sent in the chat is good. And so just to confirm, so my office is, and I work with newcomers in the foothills area. So outside of Calgary, so south of Calgary, Okotoks, High River, all the way down to Claire's home, our organization does. So I just want to send something out to my colleagues so that they can then forward that to their clients out in the rural areas. So this is included as well, these areas? They just would have to come into Calgary.
Oh, not at all. We've been offering our services across Alberta. When we started with Calgary only, right? Because that was where information was going on. Information got to us, but in like a couple of months now, our services have been across Alberta, and we've been having some great partners across Alberta that have really supported us in ensuring we give all these programs that Selena mentioned to people across Alberta.
Okay, no, this is good. I appreciate that. So, and then this website below, is that right to your website?
Straight to our
that
website.
link?
You can see, yes.
So not in the chat? Okay.
Yes. I'm also going to put Calgary Arts Development website for those of you who have an Edmonton. I'm just
okay, no, this is good. No, yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. No, thank you. I just want to get clarification on that. Also, I do have to leave. I've got another appointment at a school here in Okotoks, so I need to leave. But thank you. I'm going to send this. I'm definitely going to send this out because I do have clients once in a while that ask me about this.
Thank you very much. And
So,
before we go to the next question or next thought, another thing that we missed out in the slide that I'd like to share is that for those people who would like to have like additional opportunities to learn and to grow, there are career development opportunities, professional development opportunities in the arts. So the way we get all like people in the health sector to take exams and things like that, we also have organizations that offer training. So Rosé Foundation, for instance, offer arts management training for beginners, mid-level career, and even outside that also higher level also. So there are opportunities for these things, and I'll put that in the chat. And the reason why I'm putting it in the chat is because some people might be worried and concerned, like, oh, but how do I even start? This is also a very good place to start. You can come here, take trainings, network with other people, say, hey, I'm a newcomer. Where do I go? Where do I have opportunities? And then they can pick it from there. So, any other person who wants to share? Cindy, thank you for posting. Yeah, we know about Greatway. We actually recently joined them for the Immigrant Services Calgary. Yes, we're part of that. Thank you very much. Any other question? Bianca, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I was just wondering about when there's newcomers, refugees, immigrants accessing services like this, what is the level of English, or is there a benchmark that's required to access these services?
No, not at all. So you don't, as long as you can communicate to a certain extent. So what we would usually do is that, for instance, for the newcomer immigrant mentorship program, we will match you with someone who would understand, who is like, that's all the mentors and mentees we've had, they've been like perfect fits. We would match you with someone. If we notice that, okay, you have some language barriers, we would also look for someone who probably understands your language or is open to getting support. If that means we need to get a translator for you when you communicate or something, we would support in any way. And that cuts across uh, uh, any form of individual needs that you might have outside language barriers, any form of barrier at all, we would be able to support you through to provide that. And even with our mentors in residence, we always make it very clear that, hey, some of these people might have language barriers, right? Because they're newcomers. And the mentors are always very open. The mentors are like our employment counselors, like settlement counselors, and they kind of also always help us. And this is for the mentors in residence, which is different from the immigrant out mentorship program. Yes. Well, for both of them, we have provisions available.
Okay,
And
great. Thank you.
of course. Thank you. Any other thought, question, idea that we can take as feedback for us from this meeting? Because we really, thanks for all your questions and your thoughts. We really wanted that so that we can also share with other people. Great. Okay. Of course, you're welcome, Shay. And feel free to reach out to us at any time. You can always refer people to our website, or they can reach out to us directly on that email. This is my email. Anyone can reach out to me at any time. And then we have our programs manager's email also. And they can go to our website to just send us a direct message, and we would always respond within 24 hours. Really, we would always respond. And yeah, basically, thank you so much for coming and joining us today. Like I said, it was really, we were nervous about this session because we just wanted to make sure that we provided information that would help all of you in supporting newcomers that work in the profession, and to also explain what the arts community is about so that you know more about it and the advocacy that we stand for. So thank you so much for joining us today, and feel free to send us questions or thoughts. We're always ready to answer them. And also, we're available to make presentations at your event. So I know some of you have like networking sessions that you do for your community, like your clients and all, and you bring in people from different sectors to come speak to them about how to get jobs in those sectors. We're very open to doing that, and we've done that with a couple of organizations from in Calgary, in Edmonton. We're willing to do more of that. So just send us an email and we'll be there. Thank you. Thanks so much, and have a wonderful afternoon.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye. Thank you, Teresa.